Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Triple Double Nation. Today I'll be covering reasons why the Lakers will win back-to-back NBA championships. Let's get into the video. The Warriors without Klay Thompson. Unfortunately for Warriors fans, Klay Thompson is out for the season. This means we will be robbed of the marksmanship of the Splash Brothers and are also of the Golden State Warriors contending for an NBA title. Even with Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, head coach Steve Kerr, and number 2 overall pick James Wiseman, the Warriors are most likely out of the title race this season. This means the Lakers' biggest threat in the West, a healthy Warriors squad with Klay Thompson, is no longer an available challenge for the mighty Lakers. Los Angeles is expected to breeze through games against them because Klay, one of the best two-way players in the game, is not there to help Stephen Curry on the court. Without Thompson and his career 41.9% three-point shooting, the Warriors' lack of superstar talent means one less threat to the purple and gold. Eastern Conference contenders lack enough superstar power. The Miami Heat shocked the NBA universe last season by making it the NBA Finals. Led by Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Goran Dragic, the Heat took out the likes of the Milwaukee Bucks and Philadelphia 76ers to make it to the grandest stage of them all. Even against the Lakers, the Heat fought back to win 2 games before losing the series in 6. As good as they were last year, it will be hard to put up that same kind of performance. The Heat have not acquired another all-star to pair with Jimmy and Bam yet, and the rest of their core will be a year older. We have seen how rookies who perform at their best don't necessarily have the same production the following season, meaning Nunn and Harrow, among others, probably won't be as good as last year. Furthermore, other contending teams in the East haven't improved exponentially. The Bucks have the MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they have only added Drew Holiday so far, which doesn't move the needle that much to threaten the Lakers. The Sixers have the Joel Embiid-Ben Simmons duo that hasn't worked at all so far, and the Raptors still don't have a single superstar player on the roster. All eyes are on the Brooklyn Nets, who have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving back from injury. They are the single biggest threat to the Lakers in the East, but Durant is fresh off an Achilles injury, which is the worst injury for a superstar, and Kyrie Irving isn't necessarily injury-free himself. Unless Brooklyn acquires James Harden before the trade deadline next season, the Eastern Conference doesn't have enough superstar power to match the talent of the Lakers. Anthony Davis, the best big man in the NBA, he led the Lakers in scoring during the regular season by averaging 26.1 PPG, and also made the All-NBA first team last season. Anthony Davis has always been a spectacular talent, but next season we will be seeing a scarier version of him. Once a superstar player tastes championship glory, it becomes an addiction and a motivation that improves a player's psyche. As long as Davis is healthy, he will continue to be the driving force on offense and defense for the Lakers. Playing with LeBron James has made Davis a better player, as he learned to distance himself from outside noise and just dominate the game. LeBron James had to learn it the hard way after his first stint with Cleveland and later Miami, and Davis is lucky to have a player like that with him. Now, Davis will start the season with full confidence that he is one of the 5 best players in the world, and a player capable of being the number 1 option for a franchise like the Lakers. Anthony Davis is already being mentioned among some of the all-time great Lakers big men, so we will see a rejuvenated and dominant Anthony Davis next season, which bodes well for the Lakers' title chances. The Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets are a step behind. Looking towards the Western Conference, we all know that Klay Thompson's season-ending injury means the Warriors should be out of the mix, barring another historical and spectacular season by Stephen Curry. But what about the other contenders? The 2 main forces in the West last season, besides the LA Clippers, were the Houston Rockets and Denver Nuggets. Unfortunately for them, they don't look to be competing with the Lakers anytime soon. The Houston Rockets have officially imploded with the loss of Mike D'Antoni and GM Daryl Morey stepping down after the disappointing second-round defeat at the hands of the Lakers. With both of these key figures out of the franchise, the Rockets look to be in the rebuild mode with hiring of rookie coach Stephen Silas. James Harden and Russell Westbrook, the 2 former MVPs and highest paid players on the team, both requested trades and officially won out of Houston. The days of small ball and fast-paced offenses are over, which means one less threat to the Lakers. The Denver Nuggets have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, but they don't add any key pieces to the roster. They've lost Jeremy Grant in the offseason to Detroit, and they can only look towards Michael Porter Jr. taking a step up as an all-star as their saving grace. It was expected that the Nuggets could have added a 3rd all-star to take a step up next season, which didn't happen yet. The Lakers took out the Denver Nuggets in 5 games last season, and there is no reason to believe that the Nuggets will somehow do better than that after losing Jeremy Grant and not adding another star. As far as the Lakers are concerned, neither the Rockets nor Nuggets pose a massive threat to their throne. The Los Angeles Clippers mess up free agency. The number one contender for the Lakers has always been the Los Angeles Clippers. Since Kawhi Leonard and Paul George took their talents to Staples last season, the Clippers were a massive rival and threat to the Lakers. If they had met in the Western Conference's finals last year, perhaps we would have a different NBA champion, but it didn't work out that way, as the Clippers choked their aspirations away to lose the series against the Denver Nuggets despite leading 3-1. With a chance to pull their socks up and go again next season, free agency was supposed to be a massive time for the Clippers to add some playmaking and important pieces for the roster, especially after the firing of legendary head coach Doc Rivers. The Clippers were expected to revamp their roster, but that didn't happen. The Clippers lost their third best player and sixth man of the year, Montrezl Harrell, to the Lakers. Harrell averaged 18.6 PPG and 7.1 RPG for the Clippers and helped capture the second seed in the West. The fact that he is gone and helping out the Lakers is a massive slap in the face, not to mention the Clippers did not find another star to replace him and they had to settle with veteran Serge Ibaka, who they signed in free agency. Ibaka is a very good player for a contending team, but the Clippers needed a third star to close the gap with the Lakers, who have added Harrell. Not to mention the Clippers pulled off one of the most head-scratching moves in recent history by re-signing veteran Marcus Morris to a massive 4-year, $64 million deal when he is 31 years of age. While the Lakers acquired a star like Harrell for 2 years, $19 million, the Clippers thought it was best to commit over $60 million to a streaky shooting forward who will be 32 next. The Clippers clearly have not done enough to improve their roster from last year, and that greatly affects their little hopes. The last 3 times the Lakers won championships, they went back-to-back. We have seen some all-time great Lakers teams throughout history. We have seen the George Mikan days, the Wilt and Jerry West days, and the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar dynasty. Magic and Kareem were the duo to lead the Lakers to 2 straight NBA titles in 1987 and 1988. Magic's playmaking and floor leadership paired with Kareem's dominance in the paint resulted in a Lakers dynasty known as Showtime. The next Lakers dynasty featured both Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. Shaq and Kobe led the Lakers to a three-peat in 1999, 2000, and 2001, which was a historic moment in NBA history. The duo of Shaq and Kobe were unbelievable to watch because we have never seen a little man, big man tandem dominate a game like that. We had Magic and Kareem before that, but Magic was almost a center himself and Kareem was not in his prime. Fast forward a few years later, and Kobe Bryant was the franchise player for the Lakers during the 2009 and 2010 NBA championship run. Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol led the Lakers to back-to-back rings, as their partnership led by Phil Jackson were too much for either the Orlando Magic or the Boston Celtics to handle. Looking towards 2021, and the LeBron-led Lakers have a chance to be the 4th Lakers championship team in a row to win 2 rings in a row. LeBron James seems to win NBA titles everywhere he goes, and this is his 3rd franchise to do this already. If he can continue his greatness, the Lakers are right on track to do so. The Los Angeles Lakers are one of the most storied franchises in sports history, and there is no doubt that they will be set up to capture their back-to-back title in 2021. If this happens, this would mean 4 straight championship teams, resulting in at least 2 rings, which is extraordinary. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Catch you next time. Goodbye.